because that would make blockades a lot more powerful. Although with the next update, blockades are also going to be a lot more powerful, so that somewhat reduces my problem with it. But like the 60-year blockade against Ming China, for example, and they'd fixed it all within a year, it was ridiculous. Less than a year. I think they fixed it all within about 6 months. Devastation should be the lasting modifier after a long, brutal war, and gives you a very big reason not to fight in your own territory. But it's kind of a non-factor. So it looks like the Netherlands are starting to train some more troops. Are they mercenaries? They are not. Though the Netherlands is actually pretty healthy in terms of manpower. Considering they have a maximum of 45,000, they're at 33. Ah, but they have no professionalism. That would probably be part of the reason. The Prussians, meanwhile, still with decent professionalism, still not getting mercenaries. Commonwealth, still with their 2 mercenaries. I think that these must actually have been for like trying to take territory sneakily up here or something. Because they're definitely not trying to fill up their army, and in fact it looks like they've consolidated because they are far below their
We're playing Hoi 4 and we got an encirclement.
Really?
We're going to win one of these fights. We're going to win one of them. I don't know which.
I would say you're going to win 2 of them.
Yeah, maybe 2.
Possibly even 3
if I can get into the other one.
Oh, you're 3 days out. You'll be there.
Properly. We'll lose the battle in Turpan, but we'll cut off the reinforcements. Oh, yeah, we've won all 3.
Yeah. I knew you would, because Japan was there in big numbers.
Yeah. Alright, I'll leave you to it.
Yep, thanks. So that was actually a really impressive encirclement, so I'm glad that we had our attention brought to that. Because they are no, there's no forts blocking this. So they did just manage to get around and encircle these guys. They probably wanted to do that because they'd still be fighting in the mountains. What's this? This is just desert, so Texas being sent packing there. Although these guys are going to come in. That's 70,000 Yuan against 20,000. I think the Timurids were kind of caught napping right there. Has the France war kicked off? It has. We'll take a look at that in a minute. So it looks like Timurids are going to lose here. We've got 25,000 coming in, but they're about to be hit by the full weight. Meanwhile, France is fighting. It is France versus Great Britain and Ulm. Ottomans are staying out of this. France, it doesn't look like have any allies. Nope, all of France's allies have abandoned them. We've just got a bunch of truces with the Ottomans, with the Netherlands, and with Brazil. So this definitely looks like it may or may not have been a planned thing. Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. So Britain's coming in and immediately doing some blockades, though they're not particularly effective. 70%, 70%, 40%, 90%. Probably want to consolidate some of these. Fully blockade like 4 of the provinces, and then have a smaller blockade on 1 of them. Because if a province is not fully blockaded, then they still have ports available. So the ones with the little net around, those are the ones which are counted as blockaded. The ones without the net aren't. And because the percentage is below 100%, there is going to be a province, at least, which is not being blockaded. Like here, Calais, not being blockaded. The others, however, sorry, that's Calais right there. Meanwhile, France is starting to march over towards the Ulm border. Burgundy is an Ulm vassal, isn't it? Papal states have also joined. So we have a large papal army coming in from the south. And in fact, I would say that the papal states are probably the more dangerous faction here. Burgundy, AI Burgundy, sending 5,000 men to bravely march at their hated French neighbours, but not really doing very much. 80,000 here. There's 80,000 versus 80,000. Burgundy is sending in another wave of 1,000 men. If the others couldn't do it, then the next group will do. At least they are blockading, unlike most. That is true. A for effort. And in fact, the Papal States should be blockading down here, because then they would have a very high percentage of France blockaded. As it is, it's only 48%, because they're not doing the full blockades. Meanwhile, 70,000 against 80,000. 5.5 morale versus 5.9. Thankfully, the Papal States stepping in with a huge number of troops and actually some military quality, because as we saw there briefly, Ulm ain't bringing it. 122 discipline against 122. Sorry, 110 versus 122. Papal States have got plus 10 combat ability, and France has indeed been sent packing in the first engagement. Question here is going to be whether France has been keeping their forts up to date. It does not look like it. Oh no, that's not a fort province. In fact, there are no forts here. That's a mistake. Level 6. Where on earth are the French forts? There's one up here, which is 6. Calais is a 6. Paris is a 6. 6. 6. So yeah, there's just this massive gap right here where the Ulm and Papal States forces can just flood into the country. And unfortunately, this is where a lot of the French development is. So a lot of the French economy is going to be based in this sector. So France is going to be in a bit of trouble. Why would you not defend this? I mean, the territory isn't great. Grant you, it's farmlands, but still, you want to have, like, your borders secure. Meanwhile, Aragon is starting to move as well. That's Milan. Is Aragon a vassal? Aragon is, in fact, a British vassal. Probably a trading city. Ulm ain't bringing it. Ulm's bringing numbers, at least. They're the manpower to do the sieges. The Papal States are going to be doing the actual fighting, so shouldn't be sieging to conserve that manpower. Meanwhile, we have a British versus French naval battle going on here. The French also being defeated. 11 heavies versus, like, 30. So I don't think they were ever in any real danger there, although it has forced the British to disrupt their blockade for a time. We've also got the Papal States moving in to blockade the Gulf of Lion. GB could land, and I do wonder if they have troops around ready to do that. They have 30,000 here. I mean, what I would do if I was Britain was I would land over here. Because you're basically going to force the French to divide their attention between the two, and especially if you grab this, then that would be good. Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
Oh, not much. Poland's very unhappy.
Sorry, I'm still trying to commentate on what's going on here.
That's okay. I'll leave you to it.
Thanks. Alright, so France, what was I saying? Papal States are still trying to push out and take over the territories. Okay, now I could talk. Where's he gone? There he is. Okay, now I can talk.
Oh, okay. Hello. Yeah,
sorry, I was still clicking on stuff. I know it was paused, but things were going on, but now I can't do that. So what's up?
Yeah, I was just saying Poland's very unhappy, mainly because of that whole Russia not getting called into their own vassals' war thing means that Hindustan could join, and that's why Poland's getting stomped hard now, is that situation alone. So they're very unhappy about it. It was ruled, I know, oh, wait, that was fine. And I kind of personally agree, but yeah, they're a little unhappy about the whole situation. And I can understand why, because it's their country that's getting invaded. Why? Due to what is effectively a bug in how that the game should have handled that. So
yeah. I mean, Poland is basically always going to be on the front line, although I guess Western Prussia could have been too.
Yeah, so it's hard to not understand that being upset about that because of that whole thing. So
anyway, sorry, need to get back into it now.
Yeah, I'll let you be.
Thank you. Okay, so where were we? Papal States are starting to move up, taking a bit more land. France at the moment is backing off. They are actually in debt already. Having taken 2 loans, it doesn't look like they're going to be getting subsidies from anybody. Nope. And they are losing a significant amount of money as well. Meanwhile, the British continue to block. Are these all heavies? They are. Yeah, see, if I was Britain, I would have freed up a couple of my... Well, actually, blockading is actually a really good use for transports. So if you're in this kind of situation where you're trying to blockade them with a bunch of heavies, that's fine. But then use your transports to make up the rest, especially if you're not actually actively transporting troops, which right now they're not. Also, yeah, see, there's 37 transports just sitting here. If you've already dominated, if you've already got naval superiority, or if you're just going to be in safer places, like Quiberon Bay, for example, just use your transports. They're just going to sit in port otherwise. If you've got the dominance, you may as well use it. Meanwhile, we do have the Russian invasion of the Commonwealth, and I do wonder if anyone is going to rally to the defence of the Commonwealth. Austria currently sitting on the borders over here. The Dutch are coming in with some bigger numbers. Prussia is now actually tapped for manpower and are 50,000 men short. So it looks like a couple of big battles did occur over there for the Commonwealth territories, but it looks like Hindustan's just bringing the numbers to really bring a decisive end to that situation. Meanwhile, Iran are still gathering troops. They are under their force limits. They are tapped for manpower and short 30,000 men. Japan currently doing the sieging. I wonder if Japan is in a similar situation. They are also not using mercenaries. Why are these guys not using mercenaries? Especially if you're sieging, just mercenary it. There's a long history of bad blood between Poland and Russia. Yeah, there is. Not just this session, this whole campaign. Meanwhile, I've been told to take a look at the devastation, if I can remember how to do that, in Spain, because it's not going to be good. There it is. Ooh, yeah, that's a lot of devastation. That's going to hurt. Yeah, see, Mordred doesn't have that much. And how fast is it fixing itself? 0.08 a month. -1 development cost. Goods produced -11. Manpower -11. I mean, it hurts, but it's not going to be crippling like this. And this Ottoman territory is going to be pretty much useless for a time. How quickly is this fixing itself? 0.36 because of the forts. Yeah, if you have a fort in range, it doesn't actually need to be a fort on it, just in range. Then that will help you fix devastation. I guess because I usually blanket my country with forts, I don't tend to have problems with devastation. But that's also because forts are a great way to defeat rebels. Because if you have a fort, say for example here in Haute-Poitiers, then any province in the adjacency around it, if it gets occupied by rebels, doesn't suffer the negative from that occupation. So having forts in a checkerboard kind of formation throughout your country is a good idea. You don't even need to level them up, just have a fort there. Just the presence of a level 1 will do that. Just make sure that you keep a boundary layer of forts, or 2 layers, or your whole country fortified, if you are worried about people attacking. Like the Netherlands, usually in a great position to have just loads of forts. And it does actually look like they've done that. Are they all level 6s? They should be. Yep. So especially playing as the Netherlands, you tend to want to have a very tall, very fortified nation. Just make it so you're not worth conquering. And very often that's a very, very good way of, like, people not attacking you. It's a really good word. What's the word? Dissuader. Deterrent. It's a great deterrent. Hey, Miss Dunny. Hamburg took St. Petersburg, so they did. Is St. Petersburg the capital? Yes. Nicely done, Hamburg. Sneaky, sneaky. Meanwhile, Commonwealth territories continue to fall. I mean, most of their forts are over here. This area doesn't look to have been particularly well, if at all, fortified. In fact, there are no forts between the Commonwealth and Russia. I mean, that's kind of on them. And by kind of, I mean that's completely on them. I'm also surprised there are no forts up here in Prussia. Like, that's, again, a mistake, having this much empty territory. Austria, I see, has done the checkerboard as well, so Austria is properly fortified. Milan, also. See, this is what I like to see. Milan is very, very heavily fortified. In fact, Milan probably has gone a little bit over the top, but there's a reason that Milan has not been conquered. I don't think Milan's even been declared on, because they're so hard to conquer. Meanwhile, the siege of Paris goes on. This is a level 7 fort, so it is going to take them a while to take it. Papal states are standing here ready. Rheims has just fallen. We have the French armies moving in. France still having a good amount of manpower. They are at their force limit maximum, so they're not going to be able to do any more. And this is primarily going to be down to France just having a very good set of national ideas for warfare. They've taken quality, though they haven't finished yet, and they have defensive. So it's just going to be an absolute megaton of morale. Let's actually take a quick look at the comparisons here. So France currently sitting with... I can never find morale. Ever since they reorganized this, I can never find... There it is, 6.2 against the Papal States, 5.1. Part of that's because of high prestige. France actually has negative prestige, so they're going to be losing out on the prestige bonus from that, whereas the Papal States are going to have a lot, and then power projection. France has very little power projection. Actually, Papal States have remarkably little. The other thing which the Papal States have is a huge amount of army professionalism, which is going to be increasing the amount of damage they do by 10%, and also giving them that 20% siege ability. So siege ability from power projection, from professionalism, plus siege ability from offensive if you're the Dutch from the national ideas, and then siege ability, there's another source of siege ability, what is it? Spy network. If you have a spy network, you get even more siege ability, can result in very, very quick sieges. So I'm curious to see if any of these players actually have a spy network against their enemies. So right now it doesn't look like the Papal States does against France. Ulm is building one against the French, so that is going to be increasing their siege ability. And wow, Ulm has 6 diplomats. I've never seen that many. That's crazy. Is Ulm espionage? Please tell me yes, you are. You're fully maxed out with espionage. So Ulm could definitely be doing some shenanigans with that. Meanwhile, loads and loads of Russian troops are starting to filter in. Is Russia using siege spy networks? They are against Iran. They haven't against the Commonwealth. They probably don't need to. Maybe against Prussia. Certainly against Austria. Austria is going to be the tough cookie to crack here. Timurids, I would be kind of surprised if they don't have a spy network against Iran. They do, though not a huge one. And Iran also have a spy network against the Timurids. And in fact are counter-espionaging against the Timurids, so they are aware of the potential damage being done by that. Is this going to be the traditional partition of Poland? I mean, that's already kind of happened. It might happen again, though. New to this channel, how many are in this game? We have 30 players, I think. Whether they're all here today, I'm not sure, but like it's supposed to be 30. There are 30 human nations-ish. Somewhere around there. It's between 27 and 30. Britain is finally starting to land. They are coming into Picardy at the moment. Meanwhile, the siege of Paris has ended. Ulm is starting to, or continuing to push out. A little bit of a separation going on here. France might be looking at this with a little bit of hunger. Is France using edicts to increase their defensiveness? They are. That's good to see. Oh, the Commonwealth. Well, actually, the Commonwealth of Mazovia has just fallen. They didn't have defensiveness, so that is going to detract from that ability as well. Go away, Russia is currently their capital. Krakow is probably the next one that's going to be attacked. So Poland's not using defensiveness edicts. That is a mistake. You should pretty much always use them because that extra 30% defense, is it 30? Or is it 24? It's 33% defensiveness. Is basically 33% more time they have to spend trying to siege you, which means 33% more time taking attrition damage, and also 33% more time to buy yourself time to rally an army together and go and lift the siege. Meanwhile, a Mordecai does seem to be growing quite nicely. It looks like French Canada is currently going up against New Labradoodle, although I would argue that New Labradoodle is doing far more damage there. I do wonder if a Mordecai is going to be trying to go after any of the natives. Oh, they can't because the Ottomans are refusing to peace out. Getting a bit annoyed by this. In fact, I'm going to make a ruling on that now. Hello. Hello? Poet? Guess you're not there. Alright, never mind. I'll send him a message.